This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number one. In a few sentences, please tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Mattice with Civility Partners, and we solve toxic workplace behaviors, including workplace bullying and harassment.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine you've seen or had some stories that you can tell.
I do indeed. I do indeed.
People behaving naughty. I love it. This is going to
Yes.
be fun.
Yes, most people run away from toxic environments. I'm like, get me in there.
Let me see what's going on. I love it. So you're the person running to the fire.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, I'll be excited to hear what you have to share with us today. So I'm curious to kick us off with what's the difference between bullying and harassment?
Well, really, the answer is nothing. Bullying and harassment are exactly the same behaviors. Both are about, hostile, abusive, intimidating types of behaviors. Both targets of harassment and bullying feel like it's a part of their employment or a condition of employment. So really the difference is in the law that if I bully everyone I work with, then that's legal. But if I only bully somebody because of their race, religion, etc., then that's harassment and that's illegal.
Oh my goodness, what a distinction. I love that. So wait, so you're saying if I bully everybody, then I'm good.
Yeah, so all you harassers out there, just make sure you're harassing everyone. That's your loophole.
That's great. Noted.
Yeah, okay, good.
So how do I step in as a manager to address bullying? Because I'm sure that people see it all the time, but they just don't know what to do.
For sure. The answer lies in the earlier part of bullying. So people don't usually get hired and then just start, swinging their fists and bullying. What happens is it escalates over time. So to all the managers out there, step in early when the behavior is maybe more like incivility or inappropriateness or sarcasm. If you can resolve it then, which you absolutely can if you step in, then it will not escalate and you don't have to worry about solving it later. It's a lot harder to solve when somebody's been engaging in that behavior for a long time and it's escalated over time. So step in early.
You make me think about, my teenager versus my toddler, right? You get in and you teach the toddler early how you want them to behave, because once they become a teenager, then it's a little bit harder to actually, get them back in control.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And then a lot of times I get called in after the behavior has been going on a long time and the person's confused. Why are you here?
Yeah. Why now?
For a long time. Yeah. What's wrong with my behavior? So yeah.
I'm curious, do you find that a lot of people don't have the self-awareness on the bullying?
That's exactly right. They have no understanding of the impact that their behavior has. So yeah.
So how do you prevent incivility and bullying?
Gosh, that's a big, long answer that could take hours. Again, stepping in early when you see negative behavior occurring, the earlier you step in, the easier it is to deal with. Providing training to employees around being assertive, stepping up for each other and themselves when something happens. And really, it's about creating a positive and respectful work environment. So, bullying or harassment, it's not an individual scenario, it's a social phenomenon. And it happens because the organization allows it. So the organization itself has to, make some change.
I'm going to go a little off script on you and ask a question about women and men. Is there a gender difference that you see with the label of bullying? I'm curious if a lot of women get labeled bullies.
They do. And of course, women are up against that. If you're too aggressive, then you're a bully.
Yeah.
And like The Devil Wears Prada, that movie wouldn't be a movie, or if it was a man engaging in that behavior. But yeah, I do see roughly 60 to 70% of people who bully are males. But then when it's a female bullying, I've read research that often they go after other females, but I haven't necessarily experienced that in my coaching practice. So I have coached more males than females, but not by a lot. It's not like one female and 50 million males, it's relatively even. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. So as you think about, being a manager, how do you step in? Like what might be some of the strategies you use? I mean, I'm sure you see things in that early stage, like you said, step in early. So let's say you see the sarcasm, you see the condescension in a meeting. What
Mhm.
might be something you would do? How would you approach that?
So a key is the script. So I'll give you the script. So a lot of times managers and HR both get focused on the facts. Bob said that you were yelling yesterday, and then the person being accused says, no, I wasn't. I wasn't yelling. And so there's this subjectivity that's now being challenged. At what decibel does it become yelling? And so rather than focusing on the facts and getting in fact battles, a better way to go about it is to say, I have received complaints from 3 people that your behavior is perceived in a certain way. And then, of course, they're going to say, no, it's not. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Or don't you want to hear my side? And they deny and justify. The response to that is, I'm not going to engage in a fact battle with you. The one fact that I know is 3 people perceive you as too abrasive. And that fact has to change. So let's get into perceptions. And that's the problem. A lot of times HR managers are focused on the facts. And certainly that's useful if you're investigating a harassment complaint, for example. But in talking to these individuals, it's got to be the perception of you is this, and that perception has to change.
Do you find that the person typically wants to know who told you and who said it? Do you recommend sharing that information or bringing those people together?
No. So like when I coach individuals accused of bullying, I do a 360 where I'm interviewing lots of people who work with them. And then I take all my interview notes and move it all into themes. So that helps with confidentiality. And when I'm delivering that feedback, yes, they do often say, well, I know who said that, or, oh, I know what that's about. That was Frank who said that. And I just say, no, you don't know, you absolutely don't know. And I don't encourage you to try to figure it out because that's not helping. The point is we got to address the feedback. So just try to pull them out of that.
How long do your coaching programs typically last? Do you find that these are things that you can work on in a few months, or does it take, a year or so to really make some meaningful change?
Actually, it's only about 4 to 6 months total, and it's usually only between 8 to 12 sessions. So the reason people engage in bullying is they desire to be seen as uber competent, and they live in hyper anxiety around competence and success. And when they're given feedback that they're not seen as competent and successful in their leadership, they are driven to change that. So that getting that feedback helps. And because they're focused on competence and success, they take advice pretty easily and they just want to turn the needle and move on. So it's not a big process.
I love it. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater is what I'm hearing you say, right? Don't just go, oh, we've got a bully on our hands. Let's work to get him out. But instead, a bully is actually somebody who cares a lot about those things and will actually take that feedback really well if it's provided to them in the appropriate way.
That's right. So it's ironic because they're the people bullying are afraid of appearing as incompetent and everybody else is afraid of addressing that behavior. So it's like everybody's running around in fear. Whereas if the organization would just muster up the courage to address it, it would save everyone a world of hurt.
That's awesome. All right, magic question number 6 for you. What other successful business leaders like yourself, Catherine, should be on the show? In other words, who else should we be paying attention to out here?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. There are a lot of people working on resolving workplace bullying. So one is Dr. Jerry Carbo. He's a professor, not so much he's a lawyer, not so much a big, amazing, business influencer, but he has written the Dignity at Work Act, which is something my nonprofit, the National Workplace Bullying Coalition, is working on getting passed. And we're working also with another member. Her name is Deb Filozzi. She is very active in our coalition and making a lot of waves in pushing DAWA, as we call it, forward. So we're working towards making bullying illegal.
Oh my goodness, I love that. So that again, you can't just get away with loophole.
Yes, we're trying to close
everybody.
the loophole.
I love it. I love it. Well, Catherine, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. And, little secret, I always love talking to you. So my audience knows I get a chance to share a lot of time with Catherine, and she's always amazing. So I highly recommend that you reach out to her and get to know her. As a matter of fact, Catherine, if they wanted to do that, how might they go about finding you?
We're at civilitypartners.com. I'm on LinkedIn. Google my name. Send me a carrier pigeon or a fax. I'm all over the place. But civilitypartners.com is my website.
She sure is, and you can get her live on Tuesdays. She does a LinkedIn live out there. You should check her out. She's always got great guests on there, and she's always giving around great information. So, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you come visit us again soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Yay! Well, this is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.